Thank you very much for the introduction as well. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Once again here, Manuel, your business transformation consultant. And let me start sharing my screen. Today, we're going to see financial basics, which is the chart of accounts, general ledger, budgets, and how everything works together. And I will then add additionally one other topic, which is dimensions. But let's just take a look. First of all, we have then the screen for Business Central here. Let's go directly to the topic, right? You can access through our URL, and we will need to access as well your own credentials. And today, this role center, because we have different role centers, actually is for a business manager. Maybe you're wondering, but anyway, all the things that I will be looking for could be an accountant, or as well, you can use your tell me what to do function to look for the information I'm looking for today. For instance, let's begin here in the section for finance. You can see that I have GL budget, chart of accounts, categories, what else? And the dimensions might be around right here, dimensions. So what are the components of Business Central? Let's just go to the chart of account first. The chart of account is the main component. Of course, if you are seeing this to implement Business Central, we will import the GL accounts with your own structure. And then we are going to import with your own numbers. You can recreate them as well. But before creating the chart of accounts, I want to give you then the idea of how it will be better. And you can enhance, and well, we're going to create a GL account and a budget. So we are going to correlate everything to create a report today. So the idea is that first we begin with this section. We are going to have the chart of accounts, first the assets in the balance sheet. And then we're going to go down below to see the total fixed asset, liabilities, and so forth. Good. So all my reports, or all my own chart of accounts already has the structure of the financial statements for the company. Now here I show the income statement, and from here you are going to see that I have different income accounts, discounts, and then cost of goods sold, and so forth, correct? So this would be the idea. And what if I want to, for instance, create a new GL account, okay? The first thing that we need to notice here is that we are going to look at where do you want to create your GL? For instance, if I want to create something here like for expenditures, right? So I will be creating a bonus expenses for our payroll, right? So if I want to create a new GL account, let's take a look at the numbers and the structure. Everything already begins with 60700 for my expenditures until 61990 for total expenses, correct? So I want to create this GL and I want to have it inside of this section of expenses among these this range. So what I will be doing now is click on new to create a new GL account, and I want it just below the salaries and expenses account, okay? Or below my payroll tax expense is not a problem. But whatever you want in this case, well, you need to take a look at the previous GL account number. So I'm gonna place it below this 16700 salaries expense GL account, okay? So the only thing that I will need to do is create and click on new GL account, right? Once again, is here. And in this button, the next step is just numbering my GL account like this, okay? Because I want it in the expenses section. So this will be my bonus expenses, right? So two things that we need to do. And before I continue explaining the other fields, what I will do is coming back a little, so you can see where this has placed my own accounts, okay? And below salaries, because of only the number, this was automatically placed in this section. So take a look then at this number. Below 60,700, then I have the 701. okay? And this is the way Business Central actually understands the information, okay? Numerically, it has an order, right? According to as well how accounting used to be with needs, for instance, always assets will be one. Then in this case, I have dedicated for expenses the account number 6, but as well could be 5. It depends on you how you create your own numeric system for your GL accounts and structures. But in the end, the system is going to take a look at that number, place then your GL account in that same manner, all right? Very important, but not difficult to do. Okay, now the thing as well here is that I have what we call indentation. So what is it? I have then a header, which is this 6,001 expenses that you can see that is involved. My second level of GL accounts, to be able to structure all my expenses, below the expenses, I have all these GL accounts that have indentation inside these expenses category, right? As well, we are going to have a set of different GL accounts that summarize a total expenses, okay? So that's important. We have one segment inside this chart of accounts. Good. So if I take a look, and if you want to create as well a segment like this one, because I only have created one single GL account, all right? But to finish the creation of this GL account, you need to click on indent chart of accounts, which basically is going to add in the correct order this bonus new bonus expenses new account. Let me just give you an example. I'm going to click on indent. And this is going to tell me I'm going to indent your GL accounts, okay? In the chart of accounts, of course. All accounts between begin and total are intended as one level. And that's what I was explaining. I have one section that is currently expenses. Another section would be assets, current assets, fixed assets. All of those are different sections inside my own financial reports, correct? So this is exactly what is going to actually complete for me. According to where I have placed this new account, now, once that I have indented the bonus expenses account, then it's going to be able to summarize any figure that I post against this account into the total expenses, correct? So, and that is going to happen with every account we create inside the segment. We want to generate all these different accounts that I have here and to be able to summarize in the total for this section. And then we have the total for net income, which is another level on indentation. So you don't have to worry, create your GL account and then click on indent chart of accounts. So it's going to then add it to the correct level automatically, just by taking a look at the position like I have just done. Correct? So that will be the first step, understanding how Business Central accommodates the information and how to create a basic GL account. But I still need to check some other fields for us to actually work, correct? And then I'm gonna go back to my bonus expenses account once again, because then I have good news for you guys, as well as we have the option to create very easily these GL accounts. But Business Central automatically generates for us reports, okay? Generates charts, which I'm going to show, and give us a lot of help regarding different reporting structures that we know that are mandatory to have. But let's just do the following. In order to help Business Central to create our reports, for instance, we want to create a P&L or something more difficult. Let me just give you an example of my reports that I have created already. Sorry, it's a little bit slow. There you go. Okay, the financial reports that I have created include my chart of accounts, include budgets and other stuff, okay? So here I have, for instance, the capital structure, calculation of cash flow, and things like that, okay? But the good news is that I have reports that I haven't yet created. Business Central did them for me, and they begin with M, okay? you are going to be able to see these reports always in your environment, okay? And we can as well just verify with you that you have it just in case you don't. But here I have the balance sheet or the cash flow or retained earnings account, a report, or well, how then this was created? Okay, the thing here is that, well, according to the categories, this understand how to create, for instance, let me show you the retained earnings report. It actually shows the earnings for the period, net plus net income, distribution to shareholders when it applies, and then I'm gonna get a total of my return earnings, but at the end of the year, correct? That would be basically the idea. And now, well, how did I create the report? Well, it was automatically created. I never did anything. So let me just explain you. First, we just need to set up in this a GL account which category you are. For me, this will be the an expenditure and the accounts of category. Okay, inside expenses, well, I have like this could be either a payroll or a fee, right, or benefit expense. Okay, well, so basically it's up to you how you want to manage it. Okay, but once you configure any of these, I'm going to include it better in payroll. Once you include any of the new accounts and you have categorized them, Business Central will understand, okay, this is an expenditure, correct? So thank you for telling me this information. Is very important, by the way, right? But now the second step, once you have created your account with this information, is you're going to receive a message that is called generate account schedule. These are detailed steps, so you can actually ask for this recording and we are going to just provide it to you, all right? This is the idea of learning. So you already created financial reports and you are going to always create new GL accounts like I have just done. So this is going to update your reports automatically with this new GL account. That's great, okay? So keep my existing financial reports with a raw definition and create new ones, or override the existing financial reports and raw definition, okay? So it's up to you. Business Central knows that you already have a report that includes expenses or plenty of them, so you can include new reports to create from scratch, or you can just simply override whatever is in there to include the GL account, which I'm going to select just now. It's up to you, but once I have the report, I just normally update them. I don't create new ones. Okay, so this was done. Your reports now inside Business Central, at least, because you might have reports in other applications. That doesn't work for those, okay? Only Business Central and the reports that I have currently here, correct? So that's good. The second thing that I want to show you, the totaling type of account, okay? Some of your accounts, by the way, might, so to speak, might be part, sorry, of a heading, which is text. Posting is when we are going to record transactions against this account. So yes, I'm going to use the general ledger or the general journal to post transactions every time I give bonuses to my employees. So that has got to be a posting account, because yes, I'm going to then just receive this specific transaction, okay, in this GL account. Now, heading is just text. You can add GL accounts, and if you place them as heading, all right, they will be only text, which I only recommend when you want to add maybe the name of in which section you are. This could be the title of how you begin, for instance, where is it? The income statement, okay? Look at this one, okay? It doesn't have, the income statement GL account doesn't have any balance or net change. This is exactly a header, okay? It's just text, basically. Now let's take a look at other account, which is the income. Okay, what happened with this first account, okay? You're gonna see that here we are having a begin total account. So every time you want to open a new, let's say a set of or a segment of GL account, a category maybe, you're going to start with begin total, which is my fourth answer one income account. Okay. After the total account, all of these accounts that I have here are type of posting. Okay. All of these accounts actually have the type posting, like I have mentioned, because they will be receiving transactions that I will be posting against this specific segment. So income is, once again, just to begin, and then I have a total income just here. So let's take a look at this one. And for that matter, you will need to place an end total. Okay, so Business Central is going to, you are telling Business Central, here I begin, then I have these 10, 20, 30 GL accounts, and then I will finish my actual segment, and you need to place them in total account type. For this, then what you're going to be creating is exactly this. You will be beginning from the income, which is our start, and then the total income is our end. Okay, so we have configured then, and Business Central will understand, hey, these are not just normal GL accounts. They are going to help me to create a segment that I need to totalize to create a balance for this period. And remember here, Business Central is a multi-currency environment, and guess what I have here? Additional net change currency, just in case if you wanted, our transactions can be in other currency for every operation we do, maybe for your additional reports, okay? So every transaction can be then in local and in foreign currencies. Just to mention it, okay? But the idea for today is the structure. So we understand now that this is an income statement. It has the first segment, which is the income, and then it has a second segment, which is cost of goods sold. So continue adding more segments, but don't forget to inside create your GL accounts that will be type of posting. And let's just verify that it's happening that way, okay? And just have access to one of the income accounts and is currently posting. Now, Noé, I have one field that is called debit and credit, okay? You can add both. This could be debit or credit according to your principles. And well, some accounts like this one might require as well that you actually allow to only be debit or credit, all right? But for instance, for bank or for other specific transactions where you manage cash, you are going to need both, okay? Credit and debit. But it's just in the end informational, all right? Don't worry, because in some countries we need to export reports and we need to specifically, because of legal requirements, mention if it's going to be debit or credit one specific account. But don't worry too much about this field. If you see it, it's not going to block at the end any type of transaction that you do. It's informational. Now, I want to talk about the direct posting account. For any given reason, in this very moment, I might decide to reconcile or to do a sort of maintenance to my account, and I don't want anybody to start touching it, okay? And then nobody can post transactions using a general journal against this GL account. So use the direct posting checkbox. This is, if you mark it, going to allow the person or any given accountant to use this account in the general journal and post transactions with a manual a journal, basically, okay? But the idea of some GL accounts, to be honest, let's just go back to the balance sheet. You are not going to use a general journal in Business Central. Let me give you an example. For instance, if you have the fixed asset module, you won't post into your acquisition account with a general journal. For this, we have a routine or a process in Business Central where we just purchase my fixed asset through a purchase order. Okay, so for some transactions, I need yes or yes an invoice like purchases, all right? So those accounts, or which other account? Let me just show you banks. Okay, I have a bank account that is for Amex, for Bank of America. These are banks for me, okay? But what happened in Business Central is that I have a cash management module, right? That already has bank accounts, which is another type of entity. Let me just give you an example. For all those accounts that will be managing a subledger, like in my banking module, what I will be doing is just basically, where is American Express here? let me just introduce you. This is not for this lesson, but this is my bank account card, okay? And this is for American Express, where I will be basically generating all transactions against this bank to be able to pay, to prepare payments, basically, and stuff like that, okay? So it has a balance and different transactions already. So my cash management need to, well, be understood by checking the bank like I'm doing just right now. And I can see a lot of payments with the payment number. This is the expenditure, this was for rent, this was for bank charges and other stuff that I do with the bank. But this bank will have a relationship with my GL, with my chart of accounts. And this Amex bank account will use one general or one GL, okay, which is my account 10101. So whatever I do with this account, I don't want to use a general journal, right? I want to use this bank account, right, or subledger or module, and I will never post manually. Otherwise, the numbers won't be equal to the total, okay? According to this, I have $73,822 in this Bank American Express account, okay? That's what I expect exactly to see as well in my chart of accounts, okay? The same amount, right? And here it is, okay, in Amex account. So what happens if I allow somebody to come and he doesn't use my bank account, but he uses a general journal? Hopefully you are following me here. A general journal is basically the journal where you as a accountant can do anything, okay? Use any GL account. And the idea is that you need to block some accounts so nobody uses, right, the direct posting function into this GL account unless you use Business Central, let's say by using the bank functionality that we have over there. It's a subledger. Another example of subledger would be the fixed asset. We have a fixed asset module where we have the actual fixed assets in a card where we manage all the detail like depreciation, your book value and stuff, right? Let me open one of them. And this is another example of a subledger, what we call the subledger, correct? Which the book value for this card, and you can see the picture, this is the fixed asset card, currently has 30,000, okay? But okay, I have plenty of different detail like maintenance, expenditure, once again, depreciation and other stuff, right? So I want to have all the detail, right, inside this system. So the idea is that, for instance, for this card, the acquisition cost was 35,000. Okay, and then suddenly I have a different transactions that were just basically depreciation for different months, like I have here, and then for the same amount. So it's continuously depreciating. So we have a lot of functionality that allow us to depreciate automatically my fixed assets, and I don't want to do it manually. Okay, so I don't have anything to do in any of the fixed asset accounts using a general journal, like here, the acquisition cost. And I have one GL that is dedicated to record every time I purchase an asset, please, and I do it through a process. So I'm going to uncheck the direct posting. So if somebody purchases an asset, should do it by creating an asset and purchasing, and we have a procedure for that. But don't do it with a general journal, right? So protect your account that has a subledger, so you don't have to then reconcile later, okay? So I'm just not going to allow it. Very good. Now I have here the reconciliation account. Okay, if you're going to reconcile these accounts in our general journal, because we have an option in our general journal to actually verify the reconciliation, basically. Well, we're just going to include it. Maybe I will be showing this exercise in a moment because this is not like understood directly, okay? But this is it, okay? This could be reconciled at any given moment or no, it's up to you, right? The direct posting. And then we have the block option. If you just do this, basically, you are not going to be able to use this GL account for any purpose. Anybody can post either the system using a document like an invoice, a purchase order, a sales order, what else? Well, different type of documents, right? Nobody is going to be able to use it. So that's fine, okay? And you're gonna see in the end what was the last day you actually, well, you modified this account, okay? Very nice. Just in case, before continuing, because we can consolidate and we can do a lot of additional very complex stuff with our general ledger, this is the first thing or the basics we need to learn, okay? How to create, how it's structured, and what are the main setups for a GL account. But in Business Central, we use as well something that helps us with our chart of accounts processing. So we call it dimension. Let me show you what it is. This is the second component. The first one is the chart of accounts. But what if later I want to make a division inside my company by department? And many of my customers ask me, hey, I want to generate an expense report. I have these areas or departments inside my company. So I have, for instance, here the administration department, maintenance, production. This is like more logical, right? This is not specifically a GL account, but guess what? If you add a dimension like this, you are going to be able to use it in your reports. Let me give you an example. Another example would be the area code. The area code, maybe you want to verify the sales, generate a sales report or an income report, but by geographical area. So we can create these geographical areas like I'm just showing here, Europe North, South, or Americans, and so forth, because they are going to be critical steps for me to then add additional information. Let me give you one last example for those of you who manage, for instance, retail, and I have created my own stores. So what if I add into the store section, well, different values, okay? So let me just give you an example to create it from scratch. So I have the store 7 value, and then I'm gonna create another dimension, okay? Store 8, and I'm gonna show you now the idea. So the thing here with this is that if you don't have the dimensions like we have here in Business Central, you would need just basically to create more GL accounts, okay? And imagine having income or a GL account for income for each of the stores. So we have the necessity to report by store the income maybe, or generate even something more complex like a P&L by a store. Okay, so you will need to export, prepare a lot of stuff in Excel, and I can just imagine that all of you are creating a lot of different reports like this, right? Slice and dice the information in the Excel, and well, endless the routines that you might need to run, and then generate a report by the end of the month. But now, the idea of the dimensions is exactly that, helping us with that. So we have other ideas like the stores, what else, purchasers, my divisions in my company. Okay, all of these logical or criteria. Okay, sorry for that. Then I need to add this because all of these are important for reports. When I report, okay? So I'm going to use now two components, the chart of accounts and the different values that I have just created and how they combine together. Let me just give you a review in one of the balances of my income for product sales that I have just created through the time. So what is going to happen here? I'm going to show you that plenty of my income figures that are creating currently the balance of this income product sales account, okay? You can see all the different transactions by date and by the actual amount, but look at this. This is the division code. This is one of the divisions of my company because I have 3 branches doing 3 different things inside my company, division 1, division 3, and division 2. Okay, you can use this and if you like it, okay, or other ideas like the store 1, store 3, store 1. So it tells me, right, from where I have just sold anything. But it's inside the actual screen of my record in my financial transaction. Okay, so this is telling me you have sold on this date 192. This was an invoice that finishes with 232, plus it was sold in the store too. So you see now the usage of the dimension. I can see now a lot of different income activities, but now I have a subdivision of the source or origin of these specific transactions. So with this, I will be able to generate now reports, correct? Or ideally, right? If you want it, you can just basically export this to Excel just in case. You can still do so. Just select any of the transactions or even all of them. It's up to you as well. I'm just selecting so you can see how I use these three dots, okay? For you to select all the values, you just need to click on the top, okay? Once again, if I want to select more, let's just start selecting just a few of them, okay? Or if you want to select all of them, voila, okay? Here we have one circle that you can use to click, export it, or you can share to teams, okay? And if you have licensing teams, somebody can, maybe you are having a chat with any of your coworkers, and then, hey, let's just share it in this very moment. For instance, I need to actually give some credentials because I remember this is another account in a demo environment, correct? But this will be then opening my teams and requesting who do you want to share this page with, and you input a name because I don't know if this is going to connect now. It takes a while, right? But it's just like sharing any other application in Teams. You just select a person, like if you were going to chat, this is going to open Teams and share this screen automatically or export it to Excel. Okay, this is the old-fashioned way. Export it, slice and dice it. Here you have the actual relevant variables that you might use. It's according to how you want to create the dimensions. So hopefully this is giving you a good idea of what a dimension is, but it's just additional logical or information or values to your transaction to generate additional reports, financial reports, correct? Because here in income statement, this is exactly the idea. I'm taking information from the chart of accounts only, but behind this reside a lot of functionality that is actually allocating information in different areas, right? For me to be able to, in the end, have it in my chart of accounts. But, okay, this will be then the process. The last step or the last component that we have, remember the first is the chart of accounts, the second, the dimension, the last will be the GL budgets. And then later we are going to generate some reports for you to see this process. So I can generate now a new budget, okay? Where I can say this will be for budget 23, okay, 2023. And here you as well tell, well, what dimensions you want to use, okay? Division and stores are mandatory for me in my system. Two of them will be mandatory to have always, like in this budget, okay? Because I manage stores and divisions in my company, I have different type of stores with different, that actually sell different stuff for in hotels, in supermarkets, in airports, whatever, right? And then, well, the idea is that as well, I want to check the geographical area in a budget. Okay, just include this as well. The budget knows GL budgets, remember, go to GL budgets, already know that you are going to use your GL accounts, but in the dimension, use your critical ideas that you want when you need to create a budget. Good. So let's click on edit budget now. Once you generate this, immediately is going to show all, well, the GL accounts that I was mentioning, correct? And then you're going to see, well, in this budget, what you want to see as columns. Well, you might have different options. I like to use period all the time when it comes to budget. Okay, but if necessary, you can use, for instance, one of your dimensions once again. So instead of only write the periods, you're gonna generate then for your GL accounts, but you're gonna be able to budget by a store, right? So you can actually create a budget for each store from now on, let's say for your purchases or something like that, okay? But, well, that would be the idea. Before actually doing the exercise as well, it's important to mention that you might include and need to include some additional filters. Like, for instance, why not to separate the stores? Okay, for now, let's create a budget for not the consolidated, but only for store one. Okay, so that then is the idea. I'm going to create a budget only for store one. Okay, that will be one of the things that you need to do. And here are all, it's all about filters. I have a question, let me check. Yes, correct. The idea is that we can create by multiple dimensions, okay? Let's just do an idea with multiple dimensions. I'm sorry to change, but every time I have a question, right, I would like to give an answer immediately for the record. So, listen, normally the budget will be actually depicted by a GL account and the period, okay? In this case, month. Well, with this, I'm going to make a multidimensional analysis. But in this case, first of all, select your periodicity. This could be week or month typically, right? But if you do quarter, let's do quarter. If you do a year, okay, go ahead. And then rounding factor, just in case you will be working now with millions, okay, strongly recommended to round it. But okay, it's up to you. And then the show column name is not a problem. It's just going to change the name of the column by just July, August, September. And if I don't have it, is actually, if I don't check it, well, it's going to be June 2023. Nothing important. This show column name is just, well, just there. Actually, I never use it. Right? But yeah, here is my report. Okay. Now, the idea is that you maybe want to consolidate, for instance, multidimensional analysis. And remember, as well, I forgot to mention a date filter if needed. Okay, just in case. Maybe you want to look at the previous year because this by default is going to present you just the 2023 year. Okay, but if you need to go back to 2019 or in the past, use your date filter. Okay. Now, coming back to the question, I might use the store filter for the store one first. This will be my first budget. And I don't know, maybe by division filter as well. So I'm going to create in one store, we have, this might not be really appealing, but this will be one of my dimensions. Okay, what are the sales that I'm going to allow to be sold online and to be picked in the store one? Okay, only that. That will be an idea. But what happened if as well, I want to only the sales online that will be created in North America. Okay, and this will be the budget using multi-dimensional analysis. Okay, so the idea is that, well, in this case, you are going to now slice and dice your own budget into one specific criteria. But then later, if I use this logic, I will need to create a budget for store two, a budget for store three, a budget for store four. That will be the idea. And Business Central is going to help you as well if you want to actually process information by copying a budget just in case, right? And then you can just copy the budget, create a new budget name and so forth, right? But as well, the idea of this copying, okay, it will be the adjustment factor. This is more important. For this, you just need to specify from which budget you want to copy information, for instance, okay? The date if needed, okay? But as well, this is very important. I'm going to take a look at the budget of the last year, right? And in this case, I could increase, right, my new budget for 2023 or the current year by 10%. And this value should be represented in the adjustment factor as 1.1. Otherwise, you could create, why not to increase 20% just for the best of the year, better than benchmarks, and maybe the managers, you need to speak with them or that, but at least I have a way of copying history, so to speak, and then just using a factor. Oh, I forgot to mention the name sorry for that, of the budget. Let me see. Sorry, this is getting slow. Okay, and this would then just basically populate my budget. Sorry for the delay. Okay, so that's the copy budget. I don't know why it's so slow, guys, but this will be populating this, but take multiplying by 20% from the last year. Okay, don't worry about it. We can actually, hey, why not? Let's use do the export and import from Excel function. This is as well really helpful, and you have this function inside Business Central in plenty of different areas, a purchase, an invoice, and so forth. Okay, what if I want to export? And this is a good exercise. So it's good to happen. We have the start date when you want to start your to budget. So in this case, I will be just changing here the year for 2023, let's say. How many periods of the period length, which is 1M, which is 1 month. If that's not the case for you, you could use 1 week or even 1 day, okay, with D, okay? So it's up to you how you want to use it. A number of periods, I want to make a budget for entire year, okay? 12 periods, please include, okay? And then just basically, here will be my filters. I will be creating a budget for 2023 for the store 1, for the division 3, and the area 70, which was North America, okay? So it's up to you. And in this moment, I will be just exporting this. And this is going to generate a new Excel that you are going to just immediately be able to open. And then just you're going to see your layout of this basic structure, which basically is GL accounts and periods in the different columns to the right, correct? So you can see that it's not really difficult. Okay, but what I like about this option in Business Central that is integrated with Office tools like this one, maybe for a general journal, maybe for an invoice or for a purchase, okay? This is actually the idea that I'm going to be able, for instance, to generate the actual values and use my copy paste functions or things like that. So for instance, could be here 10,000 for income services, 30,000 for product sales, and then why not to just copy paste or drag and drop and things like that, correct? That would be the basically the idea. The products I sell in Mexico, 1,000, right? And then, well, use your tools as you wish, right? Look at how, well, it's just basically helping me to input additional information in a, well, faster way, right? So that's it. I cannot, well, you might think that budgeting is quite cumbersome. You need to verify with a lot of people, right? We don't have an approval workflow for budgets, by the way. And I want to just warn you, this is the budgets will be informational. If you, for instance, plan to do something for rent expenses, okay, and you think, okay, this will be my budget, okay, to pay the rent expenses for specific offices, whatever, right, and create that for the different months. But for me, it will be important to mention that if you try to stop purchasing, okay, above the limit you are providing here in this budget, is not going to happen. You will require a customization because it's open, right? The functionality to purchase whenever you need, even though the budgeting resource or figures that you have here are, well, or are surpassed at any given point. Okay, so that's something that I wanted to explain. A lot of people is asking me, how can I stop somebody to purchase if I already have created a budget for expenditures? Okay, well, that is the only thing, but it's not difficult. It's just a small customization if you actually need it. Okay, our customers don't actually do so. Now let's go to process and import from Excel. So I'm just going to look for my file. And this is going to just give you the option to look for the information. Let me see if I have any downloads. My budget. Here is my file. And once you import it, well, immediately the figures will be updated in Business Central. Good. So we have a lot of integrations around the, well, the different, there is updated. Well, we have different options, right, to actually import information inside Business Central. Don't worry, right? And then here is my budgeted amount, 66,000 for the payment, right, until from January to June. And this is already budgeted, okay? That's fine. I will still need to continue doing the other budget for the other months, but for now, I have actually used my filter to only see the dates of the first semester of the year for my actual budget. And that's it. You don't have to do basically anything else at this point. Okay, this would be the actual budgeting procedures. The only thing that you need to do is to complete it for all the records that you need. Okay, so 3 components is the chart of accounts, the dimensions, and this budget. And remember, these are the basics. Okay, we are learning the Business Central structure, the financial structure, how it actually combines everything. And here is magic. Let me just go to financial reports and give you an insight of how we use these 3 together. The financial reports that I created, well, first of all, I have created some of them, and some of them were created by Business Central. When I provided the categories, Business Central created this for me. Let's take a look at this tool, because here is where the magic actually is created. So let's take a look at the income statement, okay? I want to edit this financial report. You can take a look at this, you can print it as well, and so forth. But here, for instance, I have my income statement that Business Central created for me because it starts with M. But for you as an accountant, you're going to see this report that you can, once again, remember that you can export to Excel and share to Teams, okay? This is not the actual final report. What you are looking at in this moment is a window where you as an accountant access to avoid export information to Excel and instead do the following. I have my income statement that Business Central, when I classified my chart of accounts with different categories like expenditures, the expenses are in my income statement, but well, here you are going to be able to find that Business Central generates for you a section for expenditures. I don't know where it is, but it's here, okay? So here are my different expenditures, okay, expenses and so forth. But the idea here is that, well, based on this type of analysis that I'm just doing, right? You are going to need to change once in a while the analysis, because this was for a budget. But what if you only want to see the balance? Okay, don't worry. Let's just look for the balance only and then click on OK. Okay. And now this is going to change the actual structure of your layout. So these tools that I have here is to change the actual layout. What other type of analysis? Why not to include then the net change of the period or period and year to date? Let's say that's quite common as well. Okay. And here this will be my current period against the year to date or accumulated. Okay. Accumulated. That will be basically the idea, and you are going to see different figures over here. Good. And well, what I'm showing here is that you don't have to export this to Excel and do this type of changes, okay? I want this webinar to understand that we have a tool where we use all the components that I have mentioned, and why not to check now the actual versus the budget comparison. Very nice. And now we are going to see that the structure of my report changed. I still have my P&L here, but I want now a new analysis which include the net change against the budget. Remember that I created a budget. And what will be the final variance, or A minus B, in terms of, well, the actual composition is only, well, you're only 0.4 progress. You currently, this is what you have sold, this is what I budgeted so far, so you only have completed 0.4 of 100%. Good. So I'm creating this, and the good news when I talk about always about this specific tool is that, well, these were my ideas, right, to create this analysis. because I like to put the budget analysis, the comparison against the last year, cash flow ratio with formulas and things like that. Well, you might think, no, but I don't have this analysis. I like them, but I even might have my own. Don't worry, because we actually can help you to create the real analysis that you use in this tool, right? And then just basically, you are going to just be able to select them, change them, right? Slice and dice your information, and the report will be ready to export once again to Excel. So let's say that this is a real budget with a real net change, then you can, or maybe copy a link, just the last function is here, where you can basically copy the link of this page. The problem with copy the link option is that if you send it to another person, right? Let me open a notepad or in an email. If I want to share this report in an email, for instance, well, the other person, if you share the link, okay, might need or really needs to as well have the license, because what you are sharing is this, okay? It's just a link. And if the other person that wants to see this report that you are creating, but they don't have the Business Central license, they are not going to be able to see anything, because this is going to open the Business Central page. Okay, so that's happened when you share a link. Good. Now, the thing, yes, I was just making this type of different analysis, okay? And then why not to filter in the end, include, maybe the budget that I want is not 2023, it was 2022. Oh, sorry, okay? My manager called me, no, you are using another budget that is not correct. The dimensions, the periodicity is good, right? Still, well, I would like to see only a definition for the store number 1. So use it now in this, once again, in this the report definition, right? Very good. So this budget or this analysis will be included only for the store 1, and let's just add another division. Well, you would need to start filtering to create now the analysis, but you have now the tools. That would be basically the idea. I didn't create a store budget for last year. That's why I'm not seeing figures, okay? I know it in advance because, well, I have been working with this I don't know, 1 year more or less, creating different processes, and I don't have a budget for all my stores. But well, at least to show a few of the informations that you can use, only 2 GL accounts that I use to budget to show the variance and my formula. Okay, so once again, the idea is you don't have to export to Excel all of this information, continue working and create your own information like this, okay? We have plenty of other different ideas that could be good to have maybe in the webinar, like, let me show something more appealing, more interesting. Okay. Before continuing with these reports, I was mentioning that we have categories, okay, for your GL accounts. Let me just go back one step because I was forgetting about this, the categories. Where is GL categories? If I'm not mistaken. Okay, let me try to go other way because this environment today is not very fast. This is in Azure, sorry, by the way. So we have plenty. I have like, I don't know, 15 different demo environments. Okay, but I was going to show just to finish the finance structure, chart of accounts, how Business Central helped me to create those reports. Well, just we really rely on the type of categories, and you just need to input, for instance, the GL account card. This is for checking account. This is for assets, account category, subcategory, cash. Okay, so it's important to show now, if you don't see an account category, let me see if that works. Okay. Okay, the thing is that you will need to create, just in case, okay, just GL account categories. In this case, for instance, for Current assets, I have cash, accounts receivable, prepaid expenses, inventory, right? Equipment for fixed assets. And well, we have plenty of them. And look at this, okay? It already has created for me a small, super small report like this because I have categorized all of this. So cash currently has the account 10,100 until 10,300. Okay, this is how then all the magic happens when we categorize our GL accounts. This is going to be generated automatically, right? And then we are going to be able to just finish. Come back to my finance financial reports, sorry. And then these reports that start with M will be created automatically for you, okay? They start with them, a balance, a cash flow, income statement, and retained earnings. So it's quite appealing, right? And then I have created others that would be good to mention, like cash flow analysis, my capital structure, very complex type of analysis. We don't go that far always. We just need to slice and dice information typically, right? And that's why we use these tools. So remember, just to finish. Yes, this recording be shared. Don't worry. Let me ask as well if you want to write me. Because my webinars, by the way, I always do them from the suggestions that the customers or the users have. So here is my email. If you want to write me, we can share. You can write us at Optimus as well. But my personal will be here. Okay. So the idea is that you can write me so I can get into some additional information. Many of my customers want to write me directly. You know, I would like this and that. Do you have a demo? And we provide personal demos sometimes, or ideas. I would like maybe a handheld, a POS, one barcode system, whatever, right? Just let me know. And we can even present a webinar like we are having now, where one of my well, I cannot mention the company, but some of you that required, I know that inside Business Central, there is a reporting tool, which are the components that I use. I don't understand finance very well and so forth, right? So feel free to please contact us, and we are going to share then the video. So that will be all for today. I would like to thank you guys for coming. Hopefully this was insightful. This is the basics, by the way. We have other type of additional functions above this, so you can just practice, learn, see what Business Central is, and then continue with other additional and more complicated structures in the system.